And welcome back to the nation's capital. And this, of course, the seat for the Madlanga Commission. It is day 40 of the Commission's proceedings today. And, of course, by the 17th of December, the Commission will present President Cyril Ramaphosa with a preliminary report. And we've heard so much to date. And I was actually saying yesterday, we've heard so much that it feels like we've been at this for more than 3 months. But that's exactly what it has been. But I'm joined now, of course, for some analysis on what we have been seeing by the SABC's politics editor, Mzwandile Mbeje, as well as our political analyst joining us this morning, Dr. Levy Ndou. Thanks so much to both of you for coming through. And perhaps let me start with you, Mzwandile, just in terms of what we are expecting today. So we're going to start with Dr. Imogen Mashazi finishing her evidence, because there's still a few questions that she needs to respond to. But then, of course, the great anticipation for Senzo Mchunu, who is the Minister of Police, who's currently on leave, special leave. He is to make an appearance here this afternoon. So just your sense of what we can expect.
Well, thank you very much, Sakina. A very good morning to the viewers. And indeed, what it basically means and says is that we are moving towards, in inverted commas, the end of this process. Remember, when all is said and done, the most important figure in this whole situation was the placing of the minister on special leave. So clearly, him coming here will give or shed even more light into what Mkhwanazi was saying. So yes, we have seen him at the ad hoc committee in Parliament, which is more political, sometimes a bit theatrical. So here will be a bit more legal. So the questions will be a bit more pointed, and it will be interesting to hear some of those questions, perhaps his relations with some of the figures that are being mentioned, how he will be able to answer some of those. Or we already know in some instances, so he's rejected even knowing a figure like Ket Matala, and then of course with Brown Mokgotsi it's a different matter. So with him in front of the Commission, Sakina, it really would be interesting to hear. So the line of questioning, not so much political, but a bit more to the facts and more a bit legal.
Dr. Ndou, with regard to the evidence that has been laid here at the Commission, you know, we heard quite a bit during phase 1, and of course now the protagonists are coming in phase 2 of these proceedings. But with the appearance of the now on leave Minister of Police, let's just first speak to the political ramifications of all of this, starting with the fact that the Umkhonto weSizwe party has, of course, taken President Cyril Ramaphosa to court on his decision to essentially place Senzo Mchunu on a leave, as opposed to just asking him to leave the position and quit altogether, fire him, for lack of a better phrase, because ministers serve at the behest of the president, and they say, why didn't the president just fire him?
Indeed, I think, firstly, Sakina, this is one of the most important days in the cycle of this commission. The president, in my view, could have had a very difficult task ahead. Firstly, there are allegations that are leveled against the minister, and as we do know, the minister is the ally of the president. They've got a long way together in the ANC, and they've always been supportive of each other. But if you look at the time that is being taken in the process of the commission, and you are paying 2 salaries, that could be an issue of great concern. But one of the considerations will be that it could be very difficult to quickly just take a harsh decision on the basis of the allegations that are made. My view is that we needed this commission. It is here. There is a lot of information that we're going to get from this commission and be able to rectify some of the wrongs that are happening in the country.
A harsh decision for who? Because if we do then say that ministers serve at the behest of the president, we saw the president dismiss Deon George of the Democratic Alliance. So harsh for whom?
It is very difficult in the sense that we're dealing with allegations, and these allegations have not been tested. And Mchunu has an opportunity now, and indeed today, to explain the events that happened whilst he became the minister. The most important things for me is that the minister should be able to take South Africans in his confidence. Firstly, on the powers that he has as the minister in terms of decision making. Two, as you indicated, Mzwai, the suspicious relationship that he could have had with certain individuals that are questionable. But also very importantly is that the minister should be able to take all of us into confidence on matters that relates to his role in the activities of the police, the wrongdoings, and areas where he was able to clarify. But here, it's about the truth, it's about what has happened and what has not happened, and the commission will have to make a final determination.
And it is, of course, evidence-based, Mzwai, and we've already heard quite a bit of testimony in that regard. So, what do you expect the minister to say that would be different, for example, from the evidence that was laid before the ad hoc committee?
Well, I expect, obviously, a large chunk of what the minister is going to present. We do have an idea and an opinion, given what he said. But I think some of the pointed questions, Sakina, would perhaps give us a bit more clarity in terms of exactly how the minister would want to obviously understand what transpired. So, and I expect really I mean, after this, we should be able to form our own opinion about actually was perhaps in some of the decisions that the minister made, was perhaps some of them, it was because of naivety, was it because of perhaps some sort of wrong advice? Because I would tell you why I'm saying this, Sakina. When Mkhwanazi was finishing at the ad hoc committee, I think there was one question from one of the members of parliament who basically said, are you accusing Minister Mchunu of corruption? And for me, how Mkhwanazi responded was very interesting. He said, we have not said Minister Mchunu is corrupt. All we are saying is that the minister has actually allowed wrong people to influence him to make this kind of wrong decisions. So when he is in front of the commission, some of that which the general has said will be tested. So it will be very interesting to hear so how the commission, and pointed as they are, will frame and phrase some of their questioning.
So to take those assertions that you make to a natural conclusion, the question then has to be, Dr. Ndou, to what end? Is this not about his political ambition, or at least this is what we've been told so far?
Well, before we go to Dr. Ndou, I think maybe also going back to the question that I actually wanted to jump in when you asked about the president. You know, one of the things that I think the president has always emphasized is that he likes to be driven by processes. So what Dr. Ndou was saying about him wanting to have facts before he acts is probably the reason. But then,
is this the arena for you to have facts as the president to appoint or remove ministers?
I guess, Sakina, you wouldn't want a situation where every Tom, Dick and Harry in other areas would come and make allegations and then you act. So you would want a certain thorough process, because careers could be destroyed. And I'm not even referring to this one. Careers could be destroyed with someone saying, well, actually, Sakina, is going to be a problem for me going to the future. Let me throw some mud, hoping it will stick. And then you find out that 3 months, 6 months later, actually Sakina is clean. But the image and the perception there is that she is corrupt. So back to the question that you asked about the political ambitions. So clearly, unsaid as it is, I mean, we can see, I mean, we've been in this game for so long. So you can see that there's a lot of goings on that is happening within the ANC. I mean, we are going to the NGC next week. Yes, that issue around who is going to succeed the president has not been prominent, but we know in the dark corners. That's why Sakina, 2 weeks ago, the president was very clear when he addressed that NEC to say, I understand there are within comrades who don't want me. Just stand up and say it. So the fact that everything that is happening to the commission and relating to Mr. Mchunu also has something to do with the presidential ambitions. So speak to a bigger picture. It shall always be there.
Dr. Ndou?
The ANC might not have officially opened succession, but it is very correct that there are people who have started positioning themselves. And this could be also the case. And as you know, it is in the nature of politicians to be ambitious, to occupy the highest office, to be influential. And there is nothing wrong with Mchunu trying to position himself. But there are specific areas that we should expect from Mchunu today. It's about the powers that he has as the minister, whether he has been influenced by people outside his space to take a decision to disband the PKTT. He must also clarify us about his relationship with people that are controversial, and then we need to therefore know where we stand with Mchunu as a nation, and also it will talk to him continuing in his position as the minister or not.
And since this is an evidence-based commission process, what we've heard so far in terms of the powers of the minister to have made the sort of decision to disband the political killings task team, how do you sense, he will come at this, his approach, given the evidence that has been led already?
I think he will rely on some of the texts that we have seen, particularly at the ad hoc committee, where he basically will say, as the minister, so this is the kind of role that he played. But I think it will come under questioning. He has had time to reflect. I guess he'll be able perhaps to, if there needs to be, to correct whatever needs to be corrected. But the fact of the matter is that I think, as the Prof has said, so how far the powers went. And you look at the number of other evidence that has been presented by other people. I mean, I remember the commissioner basically saying, well, the minister can indicate certain steps to be taken, but perhaps not get to the level of how that should be done. So I think those are the things that the commission will be probing. And I think, I assume, after the questioning of Mr. Mchunu, either today or even tomorrow, we should be in a better position in terms of understanding, because this is more of a legal setup, so which goes at least more onto the issues, facts-based, rather than just political.
30 seconds, Dr. Ndou. Your expectation, for him to address the issue of his powers as the minister to have taken that decision to disband the PKTT?
I expect Mchunu to come and talk more about the PKTT, its activities in KZN versus the other criminal activities that are taking place outside the province of KwaZulu-Natal. And I think part of the justifications that he might make, because he's watching the ad hoc, he's watching the proceedings here, will be to talk about things that could not be very satisfactory on his part with the establishment of the PKTT, and try to justify the main reasons why he took a decision for that to be disbanded. And of course, he must be able to identify all the specific areas. Some of the witnesses have indicated that the PKTT had used already over 400 million, and whether that will be justifiable on his part or not is part of what we're going to expect from Mchunu today.
Well, thanks so much, Dr. Ndou, Mzwandile Mbeje. And of course, it's going to be an interesting one, given that the procurement director in SAPS has already come out to say that she's kind of been misrepresented, and that she didn't necessarily think that this was that the PKT needed to be disbanded for the reasons that have been previously advanced, such as the costs associated with the upkeep of that unit. So all of that still remains to be seen, and of course we await those answers that the minister who is on special leave, Minister Senzo Mchunu, will give here at the Bridget Mabandla Justice College, where the Madlanga Commission sits. With that, it's back to studio at 8
as well.